The camel is the ultimate champion of drought endurance across the arid deserts of Asia and North Africa. This resilient lineage can also thrive on the cold, windswept plateaus of the Andes Mountains. But today, only one true species of wild camel still exists. Watch this entire video to find out which name stands out among all 7 wild camelid species and their desert superpowers. The Camelidae family is divided into 2 main subfamilies: Camelidae, representing the species of the Old World; Laminae, found in the New World. And surprisingly, they did not originate from the deserts of Central Asia or the high plateaus of the Andes. In fact, their origins trace back to a species called Paracamelus, which migrated from North America to the Eurasian continent via the Bering Land Bridge in the late Miocene epoch, around 6 million years ago. In the Old World, this evolutionary journey gave rise to 2 modern species, the Bactrian camel and the dromedary camel. The dromedary camel is also known as the one-humped camel, or the Arabian camel. It was domesticated around the 3rd millennium before the Common Era on the Arabian Peninsula. Its early uses were primarily for milk and meat production. Later on, it became the main mode of transportation for goods and people across vast desert regions. A dromedary camel can carry up to 200 kilograms of cargo and travel approximately 50 kilometers per day. Throughout history, it also played a role in military contexts, from the Roman era to the Ottoman period, as a pack animal and even a steed. The dromedary stands between 1.7 and 2.0 meters tall. Its body length ranges from 2 to 3.4 meters. It typically weighs between 300 and 600 kilograms. The hump contains anywhere from 20 to 200 kilograms of fat, not water, as is sometimes misunderstood. The hump is the most distinctive feature of the species. When needed, the fat stored in the hump is metabolized into energy and water, helping the dromedary endure long periods without food. One of the dromedary's most remarkable physiological traits is its extraordinary ability to tolerate dehydration. In most mammals, dehydration levels of just 12 to 14% can severely impact heart function. Dromedaries, however, can lose up to 30% of their body weight in fluids without compromising their biological functions. When they reach a water source, they can drink up to 100 liters within just 10 minutes without upsetting their osmotic balance. This is made possible by their oval-shaped red blood cells, which allow blood to circulate smoothly even during dehydration or sudden water intake. Their kidneys are highly efficient at conserving water, producing only small amounts of concentrated urine. Dromedaries can also regulate their body temperature, starting as low as 34 degrees Celsius at dawn and rising to around 40 degrees Celsius by late afternoon. This mechanism helps minimize water loss through sweating, and in fact, they rarely sweat, even when ambient temperatures exceed 49 degrees Celsius. Their feet are broad and flat, with thick pads and 2 toes, allowing them to move easily over sandy terrain without sinking. Although they belong to the even-toed ungulate order, camels do not have hooves. Instead, their feet are better adapted for unstable surfaces like sand or snow. Their large eyes are protected by 2 rows of long eyelashes and a clear 3rd eyelid that helps remove sand and dust. Their nostrils can close automatically in high winds, and their thick, split lips allow them to feed on thorny plants without injury. The dromedary was domesticated early and introduced to Egypt and North Africa around the 2nd millennium before the Common Era. It later became the backbone of transportation across the ancient civilizations of the Sahel, Maghreb, and Levant. Today, beyond its native range, the dromedary also exists in the wild, in Central and Western Australia. They were brought there in the mid-19th century to support exploration and transport in remote regions. Currently, this is the only known wild population of the species. A small number are also kept in arid parts of North America. Dromedary camels can be crossbred with Bactrian camels to produce Berry F1 hybrids that have a single hump, are larger and stronger than either parent, and show a 30 to 40% improvement in both milk and meat yield. These hybrids are commonly used as draft animals, especially in regions with mixed climates. However, they tend to have weaker immune systems, and continued inbreeding can lead to genetic decline. The Bactrian camel, also known as the two-humped camel or Mongolian camel, is the largest species in the Camelidae family and one of the largest land mammals in Asia. This species can grow up to 3 meters in body length, stand between 1.58 and 1.8 meters tall at the shoulder, and weigh around 450 to 500 kilograms on average. Some individuals can reach up to 1,000 kilograms. Its most recognizable feature is the pair of fat-storing humps on its back, each of which can hold between 25 and 35 kilograms of fat, equivalent to roughly 250,000 to 350,000 kilocalories. When deprived of water, they lose only about 1 to 2% of their body weight per day, a significantly lower rate compared to the 7 to 8% seen in many other livestock species. When water is available, they can drink up to 132 liters in one sitting, or up to 150 liters for lactating females. The Bactrian camel's natural range extends across Central Asia, including the historical lands of Bactria, Afghanistan, Iran, Pakistan, Kazakhstan, China, and especially Mongolia. This species is well adapted to dry, harsh environments with extreme temperature shifts between day and night. The Gobi Desert, a typical habitat for Bactrian camels, can reach temperatures as low as -40 degrees Celsius in January and rise above 40 degrees Celsius during summer. Their body temperature fluctuates from around 34 degrees Celsius in the morning to 40 degrees Celsius in the afternoon. This unique thermoregulation allows them to absorb heat during the day and release it at night, minimizing water loss through sweating. Their thick, shaggy coat insulates effectively in winter and sheds heavily in summer to adapt to hot, arid conditions. Their wool is high quality, soft, fine, and particularly similar to cashmere, especially in young and female camels. The Bactrian camel was domesticated before the year 2000, before the Common Era. Evidence of domestication has been found at archaeological sites such as Shari Sokta in Iran and in Neolithic cave paintings in Mongolia. Their meat ranges in color from raspberry red to deep brown, has a naturally sweet flavor due to its high glycogen content, and provides around 1,200 kilocalories per kilogram. Additionally, Bactrian camel wool is a prized raw material in the textile industry, used to make tents, coats, blankets, carpets, ropes, and high-end felt products. Bactrian camel milk yields between 1,000 and 1,500 liters per year, lower than that of the dromedary camel, but it offers high nutritional value. It contains about 5% fat, is rich in vitamin C, has low beta-casein levels, and lacks beta-lactoglobulin, making it a less allergenic option. The milk is used to make shubat, a traditional fermented beverage, as well as butter, cheese, yogurt, and other dairy products. In Iran, this species is the only native camelid confirmed through archaeological findings and holds a special place in the culture of nomadic communities in the Ardabil region, such as those in Moghan in Azerbaijan. Currently, the number of Iranian Bactrian camels has dropped below 150 individuals, and they are listed as a species in urgent need of conservation. Globally, however, there are nearly 2 million Bactrian camels. Most are domestic, living in China, Mongolia, Kazakhstan, Iran, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. Free-ranging individuals are typically classified as feral rather than wild, since the true wild ancestor of the species is the wild camel, scientifically known as Camelus ferus. It's important to clarify that the wild camel is not the ancestor of the domesticated Bactrian camel, nor is it simply a feral form of any domestic species. It is the last truly wild camel species remaining on Earth, completely distinct in terms of genetics, ecology, and evolutionary history from both the Bactrian camel and the dromedary. In Mongolia, they are called havtagai, meaning flathead, a name that highlights differences in skull structure and several other anatomical traits compared to domestic camels. The wild camel is smaller, and more slender than the Bactrian camel, with body weights ranging from 300 to 820 kilograms. Its two humps are also smaller, more pyramid-shaped, and less flexible than those of domesticated Bactrian camels. Remarkably, wild camels can drink and process water with much higher salt content, something no domestic camel species can do. This ability has been documented at multiple desert locations, where the only available water sources are heavily mineralized. The natural range of the wild camel is extremely limited, now confined to just 4 isolated areas: Gashan Gobi, Lop Nur, and the Taklamakan deserts in China, along with the Gobi A Special Protected Area in Mongolia. The International Union for Conservation of Nature lists the wild camel as critically endangered, with fewer than 1,000 individuals remaining in the wild. Of these, about 650 are found in China, and around 450 in Mongolia. With their impressive endurance and transport abilities in arid conditions, camel species of the Old World played a vital role in the Silk Road. This was a trade network that began in the 2nd century before the Common Era and continued until the 16th century after the Common Era. The network included dozens of specific trade routes, stretching from the city of Xi'an in China all the way to Constantinople, the capital of the Eastern Roman Empire, with a total estimated length of over 35,000 kilometers. Bactrian camels were typically used in the eastern segments of the Silk Road, where the winters were severe and the terrain was mountainous. They offered excellent cold resistance, sure-footed movement, and strong carrying capacity, although they moved at a slower pace, about 4 kilometers per hour. Meanwhile, dromedaries were preferred for caravans traveling westward, especially into the territories of the ancient Persian Empire and the Arabian Peninsula. This species could travel much faster than the Bactrian camel, reaching up to 15 kilometers per hour for extended periods. At that pace, a caravan could complete a journey of 1,600 kilometers in less than 2 months. Thanks to these camel caravans, countless goods, such as silk, tea, spices, ceramics, glassware, gemstones, paper, medicine, and scientific instruments, were transported across thousands of kilometers over the centuries. Meanwhile, in the New World, ancient civilizations of the Andes developed complex social systems that relied heavily on the presence of native camelid species from a very early stage. This took place long before horses were introduced by the Spanish in the 16th century. Unlike their relatives in the Old World, members of the Laminae subfamily did not cross back over the Bering Land Bridge into northern Asia. Instead, they continued their evolutionary journey in South America. The llama is the largest of the surviving New World camelids, with an average body weight ranging from 130 to 150 kilograms. Some individuals can weigh up to 200 kilograms. Unlike Old World camels, llamas do not have humps on their backs. However, they still share many anatomical traits such as long necks, 2-toed feet, and a 3-chambered stomach. Before colonial times, llamas were primarily distributed across the highland regions of the Andes, in present-day Peru, Bolivia, Chile, and Argentina. They were domesticated thousands of years ago and became the primary pack animal of the Andean civilizations, including the Inca and pre-Inca cultures. Today, llamas are still found mostly in Peru and Bolivia, with a total population of around 3 million. Their natural habitat includes high altitude, dry cold, and semi-arid regions, where they must adapt to harsh climates, steep rocky terrain, and sparse vegetation. At elevations of up to 5,000 meters, where temperatures often stay below freezing, llamas survive thanks to several unique physiological traits. They can store fat beneath the skin, have highly efficient blood circulation, and can digest scarce food sources effectively. In Andean mythology, llamas are closely tied to rituals for rainmaking and symbolize fertility and abundance. The deity Urkukale, the protector of herds, is depicted in the form of a multicolored llama. Llamas were also offered in ceremonial sacrifices alongside other items as symbols of future prosperity in both Inca and pre-Inca rituals. With the ability to carry loads equal to 1/4 of their body weight, llamas served as vital links between isolated ecological zones throughout the Andes mountain chain. They were selectively bred over centuries to transport goods, food, and resources. Another important role llamas fulfill is that of livestock guardians. They possess a strong territorial instinct, high intelligence, and acute awareness of potential predators such as wild dogs or domestic dogs. Because of this, they are commonly used as guardians for herds of sheep, goats, or alpacas, especially on remote farms. Llamas also possess unique genetic traits. In their immune systems, scientists have discovered a type of nano-antibody, much smaller than conventional antibodies, that can bind tightly to viruses and bacteria. These antibodies are being studied in biomedical research for their potential in treating influenza, HIV, infectious diseases, and especially various strains of coronavirus. One individual llama named Wally was used in research for preventing and treating COVID-19. During the 20th century, llamas became popular in the United States, reaching a peak in the 1980s. There, llamas were not just livestock. They became cultural icons, appearing in parades, weddings, protests, and even as models for children's toys, surpassing unicorns in popularity. They were also introduced to Europe, Japan, New Zealand, and many other places, helping spread the image of this unique animal around the globe. Gifting llamas as symbolic offerings was once part of the colonial-era trade of exotic objects from the Americas to Europe. The llama is a direct descendant of the wild guanaco. Guanacos are one of only 2 wild camelid species still found in South America, the other being the vicuña. Compared to llamas, guanacos are smaller in size. Populations living in Patagonia and the southern regions tend to be significantly larger than those found in the northern Andes. Approximately 90% of the world's guanaco population lives in Argentina, with a distribution that stretches from the islands of the Beagle Channel at the southern tip of Patagonia to the highland grasslands of the Puna in the northwest. They are also found in Bolivia, Chile, Paraguay, and Peru, with an estimated 160,000 individuals currently residing in Chile. So which shows a more remarkable case of biological adaptation to extreme environments: Bactrian camels in the Gobi Desert or guanacos in Patagonia? Guanacos are the only even-toed ungulates in South America known to engage in seasonal migration. They typically move from snow-covered highlands to lower, snow-free areas during winter. These migrations follow altitudinal gradients, with timing and routes shifting in response to food availability and weather conditions. Guanacos display heightened vigilance, especially in areas where habitat degradation has occurred. In Bolivia's Gran Chaco region, for example, they exhibit more cautious behavior when crossing open spaces, likely due to increased risk from predators. In the Patagonian ecosystem, pumas pose the primary threat to young guanacos, accounting for up to 80% of mortality in juvenile individuals. For humans, guanacos have served as a major source of food and textile materials for indigenous communities in South America for at least 8,000 years. Their meat is rich in nutrients, low in fat, and has a flavor similar to beef or venison. The hide has been used to make durable items such as footwear, bags, and rugged accessories, while guanaco fiber, soft, warm, and valuable, is woven into high-quality textiles, including cloaks, scarves, and wool blankets. The vicuña is the smallest member of the Camelidae family, standing between 75 and 95 centimeters tall and weighing between 35 and 65 kilograms. It primarily inhabits the cold, arid highlands of the Andes Mountains, typically at elevations of 3,200 meters and above. Its typical habitat includes the high mountain grasslands of the Puna and Alto Andina regions. While vicuñas prefer wetland areas such as Vegas for grazing, competition from livestock has pushed them to adapt to drier, more open grasslands. Vicuña fiber is the most valuable natural fiber in the world, with a market price that can reach up to $500 United States per kilogram. The fiber is ultra-fine, measuring just 11 to 14 micrometers in diameter, finer than both cashmere and merino, offering exceptional insulation, lightweight comfort, and hypoallergenic qualities. Due to their small size and shy temperament, each vicuña produces only a limited amount of wool, which can only be harvested once every 2 years. The vicuña held sacred status in the Inca civilization and was protected under royal decree. Wild individuals were rounded up in traditional ceremonies known as chaku, during which they were herded into enclosures, carefully sheared, and released unharmed back into the wild. The wool was entrusted to master weavers known as the Virgins of the Sun, and the finished garments were reserved exclusively for the nobility. In modern Peru, the vicuña is a national symbol, featured on the country's coat of arms as a representation of native biodiversity and cultural heritage. However, after the arrival of the Spanish in South America, the species was hunted extensively due to the high commercial value of its wool. Thousands were killed for their fiber, causing a dramatic population decline. By 1965, the global vicuña population had dropped to an estimated 6,000 individuals. In response to this alarming situation, the Vicuña Convention was established in 1969 to protect the species and promote sustainable use of its biological resources. Thanks to strict conservation measures and collaboration among governments, local communities, and international organizations, the vicuña population has made a remarkable recovery. The creation of the Pampas Galeras National Reserve in Ayacucho, Peru, played a major role in this effort, helping boost the global vicuña population to an estimated range of 200,000 to 500,000 individuals. The vicuña is the wild ancestor of the alpaca. Alpacas are densely distributed across the highlands of countries such as Peru, Bolivia, Chile, Argentina, and Ecuador. They thrive best in high, moist grasslands known as bufadales, ecosystems defined by cold climates, high altitudes, and sparse vegetation, typical of the Puna ecological region in South America. Today, alpacas are also bred and raised in many parts of the world, including the United States, Australia, and New Zealand. However, around 80% of the global alpaca population remains concentrated in Peru and Bolivia, two countries that serve as the cultural and genetic heartlands of the species. Alpacas are primarily raised for their exceptionally soft, lightweight, warm, and durable fiber. The fiber they produce is of very high quality, with an average diameter ranging from 18 to 25 micrometers, finer than llama fiber and second only to that of the vicuña. Alpacas come in more than 20 natural fleece colors, including black, white, gray, and various shades of brown, offering a uniquely diverse fiber palette. Premium classifications such as baby alpaca and royal alpaca feature even finer fibers, providing superior softness. This fiber is known for its warmth, breathability, and hypoallergenic properties, often referred to as the fiber of the gods. Today, alpacas are divided into two main breeds. Huacaya makes up about 85 to 90% of the global population. It has a soft, crimpy fleece similar to sheep's wool, making it ideal for knitting and cold weather wear. Surrey, on the other hand, produces long, silky fiber that hangs in distinctive locks, highly sought after in the luxury textile industry. Surrey alpacas are much rarer, which gives their fiber a higher commercial value. Alpacas are herd animals, with each group typically led by a dominant alpha individual. This social structure significantly affects individual behavior, stress levels, and the overall quality of the herd's fiber. They are highly intelligent animals, capable of learning voice commands, recognizing familiar people, and retaining long-term memories. However, they are also sensitive and can be affected by their emotional environment. If handled roughly or subjected to prolonged stress, the quality of their fiber can decline noticeably. Recently, researchers and farmers have launched breeding programs between alpacas and vicuñas to develop a hybrid known as the Paco vicuña. This hybrid line offers higher fertility and greater fleece yield than alpacas, while preserving fiber quality that closely resembles that of the vicuña. It represents a breakthrough in the production of premium fibers, more affordable, sustainable, and scalable for the global market. So, which camelid had a bigger impact on human civilization? Old World camels, the engines of the Silk Road, or New World camelids, with fleece worth hundreds of dollars? Drop a comment below to share your thoughts. Follow the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss the fascinating surprises coming up in our next video.